The one I'm doing is using a refill kit that I got off of eBay from Cree Tree Office. They're located in Hong Kong, I think. I've already done a couple of the colors. Thought I'd hold off until I did the yellow cartridge here, simply because it's got the most contrast and you'll be able to see what I'm doing. Here's the toner cartridge, comes out of the imaging unit there. Anyway, the basic stuff that you need is a soldering iron or a soldering gun. Right here, where I'm pointing, some toner cartridges have a refill hole. See how they're illustrating a refill hole. Mine doesn't have a refill hole. I believe these are the original cartridges, sort of the demo cartridges that come with them. Maybe that's why they don't have the hole in them. If you've got a refill hole, then a lot of this process doesn't apply to you. But if you don't have the hole, it's going to get a little messy, a little stinky. So you're going to want to make sure you do this in a well-ventilated area. Kit quite nicely comes with these masks. Trust me, you want to use these. You don't want to be breathing toner in. They include a bunch of gloves. Personally, I don't care what's a bit of toner on your hands. They do also come with 4 little cloth wipers, which at first I thought, oh, cool, they come with a paper towel, whatever. But whatever kind of paper towel they've included, they are unbelievably sticky for toner. I couldn't believe it. You go to wipe things down, it just disappears. They also come with these reset chips, one for each toner cartridge. You'll need one for the cyan, one for the magenta, one for the yellow, and one for the black. You can see on the end here, see here it says CLP300Y. This is pretty obviously for the yellow one that we're about to do right now. Here's the bottle of toner that it comes with, of course one for each color. It comes with 4 little funnel things which you thread onto the bottle and end up thusly. You get a PDF of the refilling instructions. Mine actually didn't come with the instructions or anything. I had to email them and bug them to get them off to me, but they're very, very good to deal with. They get back to you fairly quickly. The price of the kit was just unbelievably cheap. Including shipping to Canada, I think it was only $16 or $18, and that's for everything, which is unbelievably cheap when you figure if you go out and buy one toner cartridge from Samsung, I think they're $45 or $55 each. So this is a very, very inexpensive route to take versus buying whole new toner cartridges. One thing is, as far as I know, you have to do this before your toner completely runs out. So keep an eye on your levels, and when you notice them getting very low, go out and pre-buy the refill kit and then do it ahead of time. Okay, now we're going to focus on the actual unit itself here. Now, like I say, this is the part where it gets a little stinky. If you've got young kids, goldfish, anything like that around here, you probably want to move them somewhere else in the room or, well, quite frankly, do this outside. I'm doing this with a 140 watt soldering gun simply because it gets hot really fast. You could do this also with a simple pencil iron, but it might take you quite a bit longer. Now the plastic on the end of these seems to be very, very thick. So one thing I did find on the first one is that I wasn't going all the way through the end of the unit. So the hole I made ended up being very small. It basically made a huge mess. I was trying to pour the toner, which remember is basically like talcum powder. You can see all the smoke just billowing off of this thing. I'm not sure if that's showing up. Now you want to do this with a soldering iron, not a knife, to try and, or a drill, because if you get chunks of plastic down inside of the toner cartridge, it would be impossible to remove them. You need to actually dig it out with a soldering iron. Oh god, that stinks. I should be used to this by now. I've done this enough times. Okay, now this is actually half comical, half not, but you're going to take your little knife, something very sharp, and you want to slice off all of the little fragments. Now you want to make absolutely sure that you don't get any of the fragments down inside of the toner cartridge. Again, you're not going to be able to get them out. You'd never be able to find them. And then it'd simply gum up your entire printer and possibly ruin it. To try to go from the middle and cut towards the outside. Now this is going to sound comical, but whatever you do, don't cut yourself while you're doing this, because one, cutting yourself really sucks. And the other thing is, if you do manage to slice yourself really good and you bleed into your toner cartridge will be ruined because the blood will get into the toner and it'll just gum it up. And again, you'll be tossing that cartridge out and having to go and spend $50 or whatever on a new one. Especially with one of these, really sucks. So don't be doing something stupid and doing it like this, where you're going to dig the blade into your thumb. Basically what you need to do is clean the end up here so that it's flat. The bigger the chunks you can take them off in, the better. But you need to get the end of this flat so that when it goes back into the printer, it'll sit flush down inside, because there isn't a lot of room inside the actual imager unit to put this back in. So anyway, there you go. You've got basically a somewhat cleaned up hole. That should be enough to be able to do the job. So now it's just a matter of taking off the top. Remember that you're dealing with toner here, which is like ultra fine dust. It's like baby powder, but finer. Okay, so basically all you need to do at this point, you've got a thoroughly opened hole, and it's just a matter of tapping the toner in slowly. You can see it making a bit of a cloud there. Your reset chip is going to go down into this little square hole here. Now what I found on the first time I did this, you know what they say, learn from your mistakes, is as I was pumping the toner into here, the toner tended to waft down into this little square opening, and it was really hard to get it out. And the problem is the reset chips have a bit of double-sided tape on the back side of them, and if you don't get the toner out of the hole, better yet, just don't get it there in the first place, the double-sided tape won't stick, and if it doesn't stick, it's going to fall out, and then your printer all of a sudden thinks that the toner's out. So this is what I found, was simply taking and tapping the bottle, slowly pouring it into the hole. If you try to dump it in too fast, the powder wants to glom together, it just won't work. If you find it starting to build up around the edges, you can just push it down into the hole. And I find that just giving it a little tap like this, after you've been filling for about 30 seconds or whatever, and it kind of settles it all down into the bottom. It is a messy process. Sometimes tapping on the bottle creates a little bit of a dust cloud. So here's another thing I found works, is if you just kind of turn the bottle back and forth a bit, it tends to pour out versus coming out in puffs and clouds and creating a giant dust cloud for you to breathe in. Fortunate thing is the opaque blue bottles that it comes in makes it a little difficult to tell how much material you actually have left in the bottle. Cree, if you're listening, you might want to switch over to a clear bottle so that we can see how much toner is left while it's being filled. Funnel doesn't matter, that's black, who cares? But if the bottle was clear, we could see how much was left. You definitely don't want to do this outside. Even the slightest gust of wind and you'd have toner all over the place, up in your face. That's it. The cartridge is filled to about here, so I would say that's about 90% filled. Okay, so as you can see, after a short bit of cleaning, we've got the majority of all the toner off the ends. Cree doesn't actually include this with their kit. What I have is some sticky foil tape. Peel off the backing, press it over the hole firmly. Take your knife and just kind of burnish the edges down. Get it good and flat. Make sure it seals really well. Just took and somewhat carefully shave the tape off like that. Now you've got a resealed, relatively compact unit. Take our reset chip, peel the backing off, and make sure you get the chip going in the right way. The version 3, the one I have, is a little harder to spot. There's two small dots on the one side and there's only one dot on the other. So the chip goes this way and you simply plop it into the hole this way. Stick it down with your fingernail or whatever. There's your rebuilt cartridge. Pull out the next one and start the whole process over again. Color. So there you go. That's the basics of how to refill a toner cartridge. Hope you've enjoyed watching and learned something, and we'll see you next time.